Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for joining in to our practice project AMA session for Android. So this session specifically is to help you learn how to implement some of the parts that you'll be working with within the Android track. And we have guests in today who are going to do quick demos on specific things that they'd want to take you through. But before that, I'd just like to hand it over to Sam Isidem, who's part of the GADS team, to just introduce himself before we get to the practice project demos. So Sam.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. So my name is Sam Isidem. I'm one of the program assistants in the GADS programs. I'm also here to assist in answering any question that you may have during the course of doing the practice projects.
Perfect. So Sam also is an Android guru, so he'll definitely be able to chip in on some of the parts and some of the questions that you have. We also have on the call Bethany, Jepchumba, and Cheruto. Cheruto is the program manager for GADS, but she'll be talking towards the end of the video. You can go ahead, Achilefu.
Okay, thank you. My name is Madrabu Chachilefu. I'm supposed to talk on the project precisely in Java. Share my screen. Sorry, just hold on for me.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Achilefu.
All right. I'm trying to share the screen.
Okay, so maybe you can do that for 10 minutes before we get into questions.
Yes, just 10 minutes. Won't take any much time.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. You can see the screen now, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Okay, this is the project on Java. And this is how we create the projects. You just simply, we know how to create project in Android Studio. You just go here, then you will select empty project, you set next. Then here in the language section, you choose Java, because I'm gonna talk on Java, okay? Then you click finish. Once your project is created, you will simply come to this. This is the first place you should come to. Then when you come here, you add the dependencies you need. I will be a little bit faster now. Now, these are the dependencies we need. All this. This is Picasso is no longer under maintenance. Why this is active? Then because I'm using version 4, okay, I need to add this annotation processor. Okay. Then here I use Volley here. Volley does the same thing with Retrofit. I just decided to use both of them. Retrofit is more preferable, but I just decided to use a Volley and also Retrofit. We have Life Cycle, we have Converter, Retrofit, another version, Converter here. We have Recycler View, we have Material Design, we have Card View. These are all we need. Like briefly, this converter, what it does is converting JSON. It has the ability to convert JSON to data objects, Java objects, and also from Java objects, it can also do convert. When you come to your manifest, we are only preparing the project. You have to add this particular code here, the internet. Of course, we are communicating with the server. Without this, you won't be able to, you run into problems running your code. So you just need to add it, okay? So we walk straight here. Now, we have our data source. You know, your data could come basically in two ways, either remotely or locally. Locally, another one, volley or something. So, but we use volley, we use a retrofit here, and I use retrofit and volley together. While I use retrofit for, I use my retrofit for submission of the form. I use I use retrofit for the to receive information from the server. Okay, to retrieve information from the server out to the server, I use a volley here. So this is basically here. Retrofit here. This is the post client. In this post client, I use this. This is the base URL. This base URL. Then you can go down. This is how to build your retrofit. You need to get the instance of the retrofit. Retrofit is equal to new. Then retrofit.builder. Okay. Then your base URL, you put it here. This is add converter factory. This simply does the conversion from JSON to data objects, or vice versa, from JSON to data object, or from data object to JSON. So then after which you have to build. It is only when you build that you have the instance of this retrofit. Without this build, you can't have the instance of this retrofit. That is only when it is ready for use. Okay. Then you come down. You have this singleton class, static, in the sense that why I declare it static is that I don't need to, if I want to call this get instance, this static. If I need it, I just call this method without creating the instance of this. So if the instance is not, okay, give me this. That's what it simply means. Create a memory, okay, memory location for this post client, then return the instance. Okay, here I am making this call and I am passing our module. I'm passing our module here. So this is I'm passing our module, okay? As I want to return, the response is coming to me as a list, okay? This is the module class here. I am passing it and this is the module class. Then it's coming to me as a list. This is a sense of having this here, okay? The same is applicable to top level. Here. So I would have just, if not because of time, okay, let me just quickly do this. And like I said, this is your module, okay? And this module, you have your variables, okay? You have your name, you have country, you have score, you have a badge URL. So if you want to create this, Android Studio can make it so easy for us. What you simply do, where you want it to be, I want it to be here. I will just say, I'm using Mac, so I will say Command N. Now it will generate a constructor for me. Then I will just highlight all of them. Then you click OK. Boom, you have it, okay? Then the next line, I will simply do the same thing, Command N. Then I will say setter and getter, okay? Then I will highlight all of them, okay? I will pick all of them, then I'll say okay. Then I have my getter and setter. Then if, for instance, you want to log out your information to know exactly what you are doing on the log card, you can convert most of these to string, to these variables, these fields, by simply highlighted, now say okay. So the same thing, It's here. You can do the same thing on this top learner. Okay, they were not going to say anything about the same thing. Then this top fragment, like we have here on this on the fragment, these are the you have tabs. Okay, these are the tabs. Okay, and each one gives you a view pager. Now these are the view pager. You click another, you go to another view pager. You go to another page. Okay, this another page, this another page. These are the tabs, and these tabs are implemented using fragments on the view pager. So that's why you have your fragments like this. These are your fragments, okay, and you can just go through the code. There's no time left. This particular, I use this. I want to make use of Volley for my posting, okay? Usually, you don't do this kind of thing. It's not recommended to do this kind of thing using a retrofit. This is endpoint, but this is the base URL. You discover that everything here, I put them together because I want to use Volley. So these are my fields, okay? These are my fields. Then let's quickly go to the data model. Like what is being implemented here is under architecture we call MVVM. We have model, we have view, we also have view model. So that's exactly what we're implementing here. So this, if you go down the data, the view model, you discover that you have your fragment or your activity. Down, you have your view model. And this view model, inside it, you have your live data. You can have as many as possible. You have live data inside it because that's actually where it's getting its data. And that's why we're able to, first of all, you extend this. This is a component, okay? This is a component in Android. MVVM, okay? MVVM, where you have model, which is your data. The data we have here, model. Then we now have the view. We have now the view model, which is this. And inside that view model, you have your live data. And this is how to do it. Mutable live data. You have this. I'm getting this data, my model. I'm getting it as a list. I'm getting it as a response. And the response is coming to me as a list. Now, the same thing here. This is for skill model. This is for top learner. Then we have this, okay? Get top skill. Like I told you before now, why the essence of creating that method, making it static. We don't need to create the instance of this method, when we are instance of this class, I mean, when we are calling this get instance, we just call the class and immediately call the, call the method without creating the instance of this class. That was the essence of putting it, making it to be static. Now we have get top skill. Then this is important method in Retrofit. In queue simply means that we have, we have execute. We have execute. If I use execute here, it means that it will run synchronously, and it's gonna run on the main thread. The main thread, which will actually affect my UI, the UI, and we can't do that here. If you consider Android 4.0 and up, if you use execute, the thing will actually crash. It will affect user experience and crash it. And that's why we use enqueue here. This enqueue will run in the background thread without affecting, okay, the UI. It can only, after running and doing its process, after finishing, that is doing, it will now spit the response to the UI that you can now see after the work has been done on the background. And that's the sense of using enqueue. So I have this callback method, this callback, which is list, having this also. So the same thing, in this now, we have this on response, okay? So on this response, whatever thing we are getting as a response, we have is successful. If it is successful, give me this. That's what it simply means. Then if there is a failure, I enter this here, okay? If there is a failure, you give me this, new throwable. I pass this, T, which is the reference to the same thing repeated here. We just repeated the whole thing. This is another way of, instead of creating new throwable and passing the reference T, you can also just use this reference here as T, then convert it to string to be able to know what if error occurs. Then we just move straight. This is your main activity. In this main activity, this is where you just added all the parts, you couple all the parts, okay? The view pager, this adapter, and all the tabs together to be able to give you the second page after your first screen. Okay, after your first screen, the second page you enter is your main activity. That's where you see all this. Okay, yeah, that's where you see all this. This is your first page you see. This is
okay. Achilefu.
Also, all the view pages are coupled here. This is the first one that will show, okay, as a welcome screen.
As you're still going through the different files that you have within your Android application, maybe you can just jump into, because people are very fascinated by your presentation. So thanks a lot for this. So we'll just jump into some of the questions that people have, and then you can actually help them answer.
All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, great. So first question is, someone is asking, how do you find the required information for using specific methods and classes while building an Android application or a mobile application?
How do you
find the required information for using specific methods and classes while building a mobile app?
Okay, you know, these classes and methods are custom based. Okay, most of them are the ones you get from the library. And this library simply means the dependencies you added. Okay, most of these methods are pre-written. Because library simply means those codes written by other people for you to make use of in your own code or your own application. So most of these methods are already, okay, pre-written in those libraries. That is why when we are importing this, look at all the import we have here. They are all libraries we want to make use of. Okay, the classes, many classes are here. And also many methods are here. But you can also, you know, there is no need to reinvent the wheel. If you know that somebody already have written those codes, you simply add the dependencies. Custom, okay, methods. You can also create your own custom classes. For instance, now this post client, I can call it anything. It's not written anywhere. Okay, I can call it anywhere, anything I want. Okay, let me just rename it. I can rename it now. Just watch me to confirm to you that it's a custom, it's custom made. I decided it on my own. I'll just say rename. As I'm renaming it here, I can call it, for instance, let me call it API client. I can call it API client. Okay, when I say I enter, boom, everything will change immediately. Okay, this is a class. Everything will change. It will take all the shape. Even this constructor has taken, constructor has taken the class immediately. So I can also rename anything I want to, because this one is my own. Okay, I'm only making use of some of these methods, some of these classes. Okay, so if I want to, anything I want to rename here, I will rename. But you cannot rename this because you are getting it from the retrofit. Look at the retrofit call here. And these are we're importing it from that library. The library is a retrofit, okay? Because we can't rename it, okay? This is already pre-written by someone else, this annotation now, so you cannot change it. I hope I've answered the question. So depending on the project you want to do, okay? If you know the project you want to do.
Achilefu.
Yes.
Okay, if I can also add to what you have said, I think the simple answer to that question would be the learner is trying to know where they can actually see this method. So they are all in their documentation. Okay. So like you mentioned Retrofit. Retrofit has a website that contains their documentation. So you are going to see all the methods and everything that you need in Retrofit there. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
you are correct. You are correct. Okay, if that was if that is what the learner wants to know, it simply means, you know, this is API, application programming interface. Okay, for every API, it's left for you to go and read about the documentation. Okay, you cannot do it on your own. It's these are libraries, like I've said, written by other people. So like this now is through the documentation we know that, look at what we want to do. Okay, we now know that using the get, if you, this is a method and you are using this get annotation, okay, simply means that you want to retrieve information from the server, and there is no way it's code written by other people. So in other words, you need to read the documentations to be able to know how to apply it, how to use it. It's as simple as that.
Okay, great. That answers it, Achilefu. So also just on the same note, someone is asking, is it wise to add a dependency that you're not going to be using in the project?
No, no, no. Don't add any dependency. No, you're not going to use. Don't add, because what happens is that you are not going to use it. It's add to the size of your app. Okay.
Okay,
so
great.
We always try to reduce the size of our app. So adding dependencies you don't need will increase the size of your app. Don't do that.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Achilefu. On to the next question. Someone is asking, why didn't you use Picasso or Glide to fetch skill IQ and learning leaders badges? So why didn't you use Picasso or Glide? And I think this one is either to Achilefu or Utibe.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, Achilefu. You had my question?
Can I answer? Yes, I had your question. He said using using Picasso instead of Glide, or using Glide instead of Picasso, right?
No, the question was just, why didn't you use Picasso or Glide to fetch the badges?
Okay, why didn't you use Picasso or Glide?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's if you check, let me show you something here.
So, hey, Achilefu, so I think
the
person does not understand what he or she is asking. The person is saying, why didn't you use Picasso or Glide to fetch the batches? It is actually wrong. You are not using Picasso or Glide to fetch. You are only using any of those to load the image.
Yes, yes. Sorry, the question. Okay.
Yeah, the question.
The Glide, see, what Picasso does and Glide, they are quite different from what you can use. What Glide does is image catching and loading. The image catching and load. It doesn't do anything outside that. Use it for images only, because you don't want a situation anytime you launch your app, the image will be loaded afresh. Okay, no, it's already cached it. It will cache it on your memory so that your app will load faster. That's what it does. We can use it. It's not a client library that you will use to do that. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So on to another question. Someone is asking, while submitting the form using Retrofit, is there any other way to verify the form actually submitted since there's no response from the API indicating success?
Okay, now let me just point out something. We have those two methods. Let's go to those two methods. The way look at the way you will simply use to know. What the guy was asking, if I understand the person very well. Okay, let me just throw more. Let me teach something, then I will go to the answer straight. Now we have three things you can pass here. You can pass response body, okay? You can pass the custom made, okay? Which is this. You can also pass void. Okay, you can also pass void. Let me just throw light on that. When you pass your custom made, maybe for instance, user or skill IQ that you pass there, what happens is that first of all, the response will be converted to data objects. Do you understand? And the response will be returned to you. But when you use a response body, what happens is that work will not be done. It will simply give you, simply give you a response. But
okay, Achilefu.
the method body will return null. It will not convert back to data module, and there will be no response. The method body will return null. But if you want to know, let me show you something now. Whether you use something like this skill IQ, or you use what do you call it? You use response body, or you use void. Look at what happens. Let me show you something. It's better explained here.
Okay, Chilefu, we are
sorry.
almost out of time.
Yes, let me just, sorry. I am there. Let me just show you something now. Just so don't, sorry, you better explain using code. Okay, let me just sorry, okay. Sorry.
And while you're trying to do that, Achilefu, maybe I can just now invite Cheruto and Sam just to answer some program-specific questions. Okay. So one of the learners is asking, for the skill IQ, if you get 200 points in exact, is it enough, or you have to get 201 points going upwards? Sam, maybe you can help out, or Cheruto?
Yeah, I can take that particularly. So as we share the requirements to advance the next stage, so those are the requirements. So you have to get at least 200 in your skill IQ, or one. Oh yeah, so for Android, that's 200, or engage with 20 hours of course content. But something that you should note is that's going to be quite competitive. So the better your score, the better your engagement, the better for you. So the priority would most likely be given to those learners who meet both requirements. And this is something that was shared from the beginning of this planning phase.
Okay, perfect, Marcy. Well answered. Thanks a lot. Another program-specific question: when you retake your IQ test, does the phase 1 score get replaced, or the high score is retained? Because this learner says he or she retook the skill IQ and got a lower score than phase 1 retained.
I think this is something we've answered for a number of times as well. So when you take your skill IQ and score lower than you did last year, pro site should use the highest. So whatever happens, if you score higher or lower, it should be there.
Okay, perfect, Mercy.
Okay,
so since
we are you now, okay.
Oh yes, Achilefu. Yes, you can finish off.
Okay. Look at it. I was saying something passing response body here. You know, we have this. Okay. If for instance you have what you have here is void. Okay. The learner, if you understand the learner perfectly, is asking since the response is null, how do you know? Now, even if you pass void here, for instance, okay, if you pass void here, for instance, now, you know, there will be errors, except you make all of them going back everywhere and changing it to void. Okay, I just want to use it as an example. If you pass null here, even if you pass void here, you will still get the same thing. What you would do is you can say response, for instance. Now, let me go back let me return back to, so that there will be no error here. What you simply do, you will come to this particular method. Okay, this is where we are logging our information. You will simply say, here, response, for instance. You can simply say here, response dot, you can say here, response body. You can use this, you can make use of this. You can, if successful, we actually return true. Okay, if this method is successful, it will actually return true. Do you get it?
Okay.
Then you now log it out. Then you'll be able to know that it has gone. Otherwise, the same thing, you do it here. It will be able to give you the information, whether it actually submitted or not.
Perfect, Achilefu, perfect. Thanks a lot for actually even demonstrating with code. So that was really impressive. So our time for this AMA session is done, but we just like to give quick thanks to Utibe and Achilefu. Thanks a lot for joining in today. Your contribution has been highly appreciated, and also to the rest of the GADS team that is on the call supporting this. Thanks a lot. So maybe just before we leave, Sam, do you have anything, or you can actually call it a session?
Yeah, you can call it a wrap, Chris.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. If you have any questions, we'll be sharing out GitHub links for both our speakers today, so be sure to look out for that. But otherwise, all the best in your practice project. Remember, we are almost finishing this phase, and so make sure that you are at par with what is supposed to be done in the requirements, and all the best in your practice project. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have an amazing weekend ahead.
Thank you very much.